Now let's talk about a second contingency approach to leadership called the Path Goal Leadership Model. And this is by Robert House. And you can see that the Path Goal Leadership Model holds that effective leaders makes available to followers the desirable rewards in the workplace and increases their motivation by clarifying the paths or behavior that will help them achieve those goals and providing them with support. Successful leaders tie meaningful rewards to goals and reduce barriers. Now, numerous studies testing predictions from the original theory provided mixed results. As a consequence, House proposed a new model, as you see here in figure 14.2. This is that revised path goal theory. And as you look at this figure, you can see that as the drawing indicates, two contingency factors or variables, which are employee characteristics and environmental factors, cause some leadership behaviors to be more effective than others. If we look at the employee characteristics, there are 5 employee characteristics and are the locus of control, which we've mentioned before, task ability, need for achievement, experience, and the need for path goal clarity. With the environmental factors there, we see that 2 environmental factors are task structure, independent versus interdependent tasks, and the work group dynamics. When we move over and look at leadership behaviors, originally House proposed that there were 4 leader behaviors or leadership styles: directive, supportive, participative, and achievement oriented. The revised theory expands the number of leader behaviors from 4 to 8. Now, House's revision puts more emphasis on the need for leaders to foster intrinsic motivation through empowerment. It also stresses the concept of shared leadership, that employees do not have to be supervisors or managers to engage in leader behavior, but many share leadership among all employees. Although further research is needed on the new model, it offers 3 important implications for managers. The first one is that effective leaders possess and use more than one style of leadership. The second one is that leaders should guide and coach employees in achieving their goals. And lastly, managers should modify their leadership style to fit employee and task characteristics. Now let's move into 14.5, talking about the full range model. Now, full range leadership suggests that leadership behavior varies among a full range of leadership styles. From take no responsibility is kind of a laissez-faire take, but from take no responsibility leadership at one extreme through transactional leadership to transformational leadership at the far end of the other extreme. Now, transactional leadership focuses on clarifying employee roles and task requirements and providing rewards and punishments contingent on that performance. It encompasses the fundamental managerial activities of setting goals and monitoring progress towards that achievement. We move down to transformational leadership, and transformational leadership transforms employees to pursue organizational goals over their self-interests. Whereas transactional leaders try to get people to do ordinary things, transformational leaders encourage people to do exceptional things. Transformational leaders are influenced by 2 factors. First one is that of individual characteristics, where they tend to be extroverted, agreeable, proactive, and pretty much open to change. The other factor where transformational leaders are influenced are organizational culture. It's where adaptable, flexible cultures are more likely than rigid, bureaucratic cultures to foster transformational leadership. The best leaders learn to display both transactional and transformational styles of leadership to some degree. Now we move into the last part of chapter 14, and that's over the additional perspectives. Now there are 3 additional kinds of leadership that we'll briefly talk about, and they are the leadership membership exchange model, or leader membership exchange model. We also call this the LMX model here, and this the leader member exchange model of leadership emphasizes that leaders have different sorts of relationships with different subordinates. It focuses on the quality of relationship between managers and subordinates and assumes that each manager-subordinate relationship is unique. This unique relationship, which results from the leader's attempt to delegate and assign work roles, can produce 2 types of leader-member exchange interactions. whether the in-group exchange, which builds on trust and respect, or the out-of-group exchange, where there's a lack of trust and respect. We move on to talk about servant leadership, and servant leadership focuses on providing increased service to others, meeting the goals of both followers and the organization, rather than to one themselves. Servant leadership is a long-term transformational approach to life and work. And lastly here, e-leadership is leadership within the context of electronic technology. It can involve one-to-one, one-to-many, mini-group and between-group, and collective interactions via information technology. It means developing business opportunities through cooperative relationships, restructuring a company into global networks, decentralizing the company's organization, and energizing the staff. Some feel that in the future individual companies will be replaced by broader global networks that a single CEO will not be able to manage. Instead of competition, future organizations will run on knowledge sharing and open exchange. And we'll conclude with this last piece of information. Research shows that followers seek and admire leaders who create feelings of significance, community, and excitement. In the area of significance, this is like making followers feel what they do at work is important and meaningful. Leaders who create the feeling of community, this is creating a sense of unity that encourages followers to work together in pursuit of the organization's goals. And then lastly, followers seek and admire leaders who create a feeling of excitement, making people feel energetic and engaged while at work. Well, that concludes our lesson over power, influence, and leadership. We will continue our discussion on the leading aspect of management in our next chapter, which will be over interpersonal and organizational communication, and that will conclude the chapters over the leading management goal or management function. So thank you for joining along with chapter 14, and hopefully you've learned a lot about leadership that you may not have already known, or maybe you've learned some new skills that you can apply to your leadership skills in your day-to-day operations. Thank you.